It's over.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it!
I could use some healing. Need healing. I need healing. How embarrassing.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
Sorry about that.
Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial video. You guys seem to really like the last tutorial video I did for Moira and the 5 tips on how to rank up with her. So today, it's kind of been on my mind lately that I want to do more videos like that because you guys seem to enjoy that, and frankly, I like making them as well. I like helping you guys out. I do VOD reviews and stuff on my Twitch channel, by the way, twitch.tv/itsbrianirl if you wish to check me out. But I was getting to the point where I was starting to feel like it's about time for me to make another video. But for today's video, we're going to be focusing on one of the most important, core, crucial aspects that every player should already be utilizing in their gameplay. But sadly, I just don't see it happen as often in ranks below Diamond. So without further ado, today's video is going to be dedicated towards talking about the importance of high ground. This is important for all roles, by the way, not just DPS. I want to make sure that's absolutely clear. Even though it's most commonly thought of and understood to like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe as a soldier or something, or like, you know, some DPS character, you got to get high ground. But part of the issue that I have with a lot of players that I see in lower elo games, and sometimes my own teammates too in Diamond, to be fair, is that literally I don't see enough players, particularly on tanks and supports, also utilizing high ground, because it's just as important for those roles too as it is for DPS. And in today's video, we're going to be going over all of that. All right, so there's going to be 3 major things that make high ground so useful and kind of almost critical in a lot of situations. The first thing being that it helps you get off angles, but also stay safe at the same time. I'm going to show a couple examples here in just a second, but the most important information to take away from this is that this is going to help you the most during any sort of situation where you're having like a 1v1 duel. Heck, it could even be useful against multiple opponents that you might be dueling at the same time as well. The key thing here, though, to point out is the fact that you have control over the pace of the fight compared to the opponent who has less control over the pace of the fight. All right, so just to kind of explain it in a, you know, back in school session type of way, we're going to have a very simple visual explanation here for any of you guys who learn that way better. Okay, so in this example, we're going to have 2 soldiers. One's on high ground, one is on low ground. Okay, now, what's the biggest thing to take away here? Okay, how can what is soldier's effective range? It's, well, basically any time he has line of sight on his enemy, he can shoot them. If he has sight of his enemy has sight of him. Okay, that's the best way to think about it. If you can see your enemy and you can shoot your enemy, chances are your enemy can also shoot you. So as of right now, you could say that they both can shoot each other pretty easily at this point. Okay, however, what if we were to say that, what if soldier, the top soldier right here, happened to get low? Okay, he got hit by a helix rocket by the lower soldier, and now he's in critical HP. All he needs to do is back up a bit, and now he no longer has a line of sight on the enemy because the ledge is getting in the way. He's using the ground itself as cover. And because of the fact that he doesn't have sight of the enemy no longer has sight of him either. This is simply because of the fact of how angles work. For those of you that might play Moira, you might be familiar with the phrase simple geometry, but quite literally because of the fact that most ledges tend to be a 90-degree type angle. If we had the soldier back here, okay, as long as the more that this soldier backs up, this angle closes up. So this no longer becomes between soldier, the ground, and line of sight. It no longer becomes a 90-degree angle, okay? Instead, it becomes more like a 45 or less degree angle, depending. So realistically, and this is also dependent on how close the enemy is, how far the enemy is away from the ledge itself too. So it's really just about manipulating angles so that way you can have better protection using the ground itself as cover, okay? So from this point of view, okay, because now the enemy has less angle to work with, this soldier now would have to step even farther away in order to even try to gain line of sight again on our soldier on high ground, okay? Even farther away, in which case all soldier on high ground needs to do, again, is just take a few more steps back, okay? Notice here how in this situation, the soldier on the very bottom of on low ground has to exert more effort just to find enough line of sight on the soldier on high ground compared to the soldier on high ground who has to put very minimal effort to stay safe, okay? This is the pressure and advantage that high ground gives you in a 1v1 type aspect, okay? Because you have to exert way less effort in order to gain an advantage on the enemy, okay? You're able to dictate how the fight goes in that 1v1 situation a lot easier compared to the enemy. As well as the fact too that obviously, like I show here, you can actually use the ground as cover, whereas the enemy cannot really use the ground as cover. So let's say in this situation, after our soldier here heals up with his healing station that he plants into the ground, he's at full HP, and now he wants to come back and duel the soldier again. All he has to do is be like, all right, I'm good. He can rush. Let's say the soldier is back up over here, okay? He'd be like, all right, I'm all healed up. Let's go in. He just takes a few steps, shoots a healer rocket and a couple of shots, maybe kills this guy, maybe not. But if he doesn't like how it goes, he just steps back, okay? And he tries again when he feels ready for it, okay? Compared to this soldier who has no cover at all whatsoever. So he's playing a lot more riskier compared to this one who does have cover because of the ledge. All right, so in this next example, we're going to be using a real life situation where I'm going to be doing a deathmatch game with one of my friends. And at this instance of the fight, I happen to be using high ground, whereas my friend is on low ground. And you'll be able to most notably easily see how easily I control the pace of the fight, whereas my friend is struggling just to try and get any sort of pressure onto me during so. All right, so during this fight, notice how I am using high ground to be able to put pressure on my friend very easily while barely letting him get any sort of sight on me as possible. I'm taking a couple of shots. Whenever I happen to feel pressured, I back off, and then when I feel ready to shoot at him again, I step forward and I take a couple of shots. All right, so now we're watching it from my friend's point of view, and as you can see here, he is struggling to get some sort of shots on me just because of how much I am using the ledge to my advantage. Because of how I keep using the angle as cover, he's unable to get enough of an angle on me to try and get a shot on me. Okay, so this time we're going to be watching it from a third-person point of view where we watch the same thing happen. Here I am taking advantage of the cover. I'm using the 45-degree angle thing that we talked about earlier. And because of the fact that I am effectively using the ledge here in order to stay safe and also be able to just shoot my friend whenever I want, my friend is out in the open. He can't get an angle on me, so he has no choice but to run away in an effort to try and stay alive. And this isn't even including multiple other teammates and opponents at the same time either. Imagine how effective it is if you can easily just be able to manipulate how the enemy plays just because of you using high ground. which on that topic brings us into our second point. All right, so using some of the concepts that we just learned in the previous point, we learned that high ground not only gives you a significant advantage in terms of safety, but also in terms of being able to more easily dictate the flow of the fight, or more importantly, being able to choose when to pressure the opponent and not being able to let the opponent be able to choose when to pressure you. Okay, so now that we have that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about how utilizing high ground, using the point that we just brought up, can help you gain map control, or the idea of what map control is. Okay, so for this example, we're going to be having a top-down overhead view of Watchpoint Gibraltar, just because of the fact that Watchpoint Gibraltar is probably one of the most high ground map control oriented maps in the game. And so it's going to serve as a very perfect example to help illustrate what the heck I'm talking about here. So just taking the first point into consideration, chances are many of you in your Overwatch ranked games, your competitive games, have probably come across some people sitting up on this bridge right here and just shooting down on you, either at your spawn, directly below the bridge, either right here around the corner. Regardless of where you are, chances are you've probably come across enemy players utilizing this bridge. Okay, this is map control. Okay, by utilizing the high ground here in this situation, you're able to effectively increase your effectiveness on this entire area, while also decreasing the enemy's effectiveness on you. All right, so let's just take this into consideration. Okay, let's slow it down. Let's back up a little bit. All right, so in this case, there are, on this first point of Watchpoint Gibraltar, there are 3 key parts of the map that can completely dominate and control this entire first point. Okay, this bridge is one of them, and after I give this overhead view example, I'll show you a real game example from one of my diamond games, so you can kind of see it in action and just see how aggravating it is as an opponent to have to fight against something like that. Okay, but anyways, let's slow down and go back to what I was talking about here. Okay, so for high ground, okay, on this first point, let's just think of it like this. Okay, if we have an enemy right here on the bridge, let's say it's a soldier. Let's say we have a soldier right there on top of the bridge, okay, shooting down on us, on our team. We're attacking, we're coming from spawn right here, and we're trying to push cart. Okay, they have a soldier up on the bridge. How much map control can they have up on the bridge? Well, effectively, because of the fact that soldiers hit scan, anywhere that he has line of sight, he has effective range over. Okay, meaning that he essentially has this entire area more or less under his control, as well as he has his entire area right here under his control. So just from utilizing the bridge, he can essentially pick and choose his fights as he wishes and be able to get free value just from sitting up on the bridge on high ground for as long as possible. Now, in a lot of lower elo ranked games, you'll typically see players try to sit up and stand and like set up their defenses right here in this area. And notice what happens if you decide to do that. Okay, what is the map control that you gain from sitting up in this area? Well, most commonly what ends up happening is because of the fact that most enemies will just hide along the wall that's right here with the little like staircase that goes this way. Okay, they'll hide behind this little like propane tank or whatever this is. The only effective map control that your team, the pink team over here, actually gain is this blue area right here. This is the only actual control that you actually are able to take part of for this part of the map, which makes it not nearly as good because you can't harass them at spawn. okay? And you're letting the enemy team be able to control when they can actually push and actually get the cart around. It also lets the cart be able to push up to the blue zone for free. And all they need to do is just buy a couple seconds to let the cart push under, and then they're safe to go into the second half of the first point. All right. Okay, so for this example, we're going to be taking a look at one of my diamond games on Watchpoint, on this first point of Watchpoint Gibraltar. Now, my team ended up losing this game, but the other team ended up using, simply because the other team was using high ground so effective that was just making it really difficult for us. And I figured it would be a really perfect example to show you guys exactly what I mean. How easily from like diamond above, people start really abusing the high ground and try to obtain as much map control as possible. So in this example, we're going to be focusing mostly on the enemy soldier, disposable over here on the soldier, just because of how often he tends to just, like I showed you just a few seconds ago, he just kind of camps these two high ground spots, the bridge and this spot right here, and sometimes the tarp. Okay. And we're just going to kind of go through it a little bit. Okay. I want to take note how even the diva, like I mentioned before, like high ground can be used for all roles, not just DPS. And the diva here is a perfect example of that. Like, even though diva doesn't exactly have the best range in terms of damage, being able to have the diva up here on the bridge, first, in the likelihood that the enemy chooses to approach the bridge in order to try and gain control over the bridge, the diva can be there to fight them off, okay? And at the same time, on the same note, the diva simply being there makes it so to help deny the enemy team from trying to get the high ground and get that map control at the same time. All right. So even if you're a tank who doesn't necessarily have the best effective range in terms of damage, you can still play on important parts of high ground, even if it's just something as simple just to deny the enemy team from obtaining that high ground. Let's go to Hanzo's point of view, actually, just so you can see how that played out. Right.
Ready for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So we know the soldier and the diva are on high ground. Okay. He sees the diva. He tries to contest the diva to take on it. He sees it's a 2v1. He backs up. Okay. And then he gets pushed off high ground. Now at this point, it's kind of annoying and hard to deal with, because now they have at least a soldier and diva on high ground who can easily shoot down on us. Okay. On top of us, mind you, and we're just stuck in this open space with not very much cover in order to do anything about it.
Time to raise my
You see what I mean? All right, so in this next example, we're going to have a situation with me and my friend again, where this time I'm playing soldier on high ground and he's playing Reinhardt pushing the cart. This is on second point of Gibraltar. And in this situation, you're going to notice how I am constantly harassing and pressuring the enemy Reinhardt's shield. I'm trying to break the shield as much as possible so I can get free value. The Reinhardt, though, here plays smart and goes up on high ground in order to contest me. And because of the fact that he's contesting me on high ground now, he completely denies me the advantage of being on high ground in the first place, okay? He ends up chasing me down, and I end up making the decision to jump down, rejoin my team. Okay. And now, since Reinhardt has done his job at denying me high ground, he's essentially created space. That's just basically what a tank's job is. Okay. He's created space. Now, he no longer needs to be on high ground himself either, because all the enemies are off high ground, and he can drop down a cart and contest cart and continue pushing. This is an example of how even tanks can utilize high ground in order to get effective value, either from high ground advantage alone or from map control. Map control being, in this instance, denying map control from the enemy. Now, this next point is going to apply mostly towards you support players out there. but of course will always still be relevant towards any other type of role or character that you happen to play as well. Now, are you a support player who constantly getting jumped on by a Winston, Tracer, Genji, Echo, or whoever it may be? Well, chances are you're probably not using high ground enough, okay? Why do I say that? Well, let me give you an example. All right, so in this example, we're going to be showing a situation where me and my friend, again, are doing a 1v1. I'm on a high ground. I'm playing Ana. Right now, he's playing Tracer. And we're going to have a few different situations showing you guys that high ground here in this instance is going to make it so that Tracer has to waste a lot of her abilities just to reach me. Okay, and the reason why this is so good is simply because of the fact that the more abilities that I can make the enemy use means, like, just to reach me, okay, means that it means two things. A, they're wasting a lot of time just trying to reach me, making it a lot easier for the rest of my team to get value on the rest of their team. And B, the less abilities that they have by the time they actually reach me also means that they have less abilities available to use during the actual fight with me. And in these clips, we'll go ahead and give you, show you some examples of that. So right here, my friend's playing Tracer. Keep in mind, by the way, please don't judge him or anything. He is just your average player. He's not going to have crisp, clean, grandmaster aim or anything like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. And this was also a day where I kind of just hopped on. I didn't warm up or anything. So keep that in mind. But the concept still applies, and you could probably easily still see it happen here. So we'll get him to play it. Okay. I know he was coming above. Notice how the Tracer had to at least double blink just to reach me. That tells me that she has at least one blink left, but because of that, she's already in a bad spot, because a Tracer's main tool to win a duel, as well as to kind of, in a way, juke or jabait an opponent, is with her blinks. Because a lot of Tracers will typically do like multi-blink back and forth in order to try and confuse the opponent as the Tracer whittles them down. But because in this instance, I made her double blink already, she can't really do that now. She might as well just be any other character. I can just shoot normally at this point. So we'll go ahead and play the rest. So, because she didn't have any blinks right there, I'm able to get easy shots off on her. Okay. So the most she can really do at this point is use recall, in which case that's another ability that she no longer has. So no matter how you look at it, in this situation, I have the advantage, because no matter what, this Tracer can't approach me without already being at a disadvantage. Now this time we're gonna go ahead and watch it from my friend's point of view, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it looks like from the enemy's perspective when trying to fight me on high ground like this. Okay, so this is gonna be the first flank on that left doorway. Okay. She has to double blink to get to me.
Ever get that feeling, deja vu?
So note how it kind of already made things a little bit more difficult for her. Granted, like I mentioned before, my friend is just an average player, so don't expect anything fancy. Okay, but you can definitely be utilizing the high ground in this situation, regardless of what hero you're playing, especially for supports though. Because keep in mind that the higher level that you become, the higher level the enemy will also be too. So realistically, on paper, no matter what skill level you're at, okay, your comp games are going to relatively have fairly similar skill levels for everybody in the lobby. Okay, so if everyone's about the same skill level, if you make them waste abilities and resources just to reach you in the first place, that already puts you at an advantage in a fight, regardless of what hero you're playing. All right, so here in this instance, my friend is still playing Tracer, but this is gonna be a different situation. I believe we're on Numbani, by the way. But this instance, she's going to be trying a or he's going to be trying a different approach, okay, to try and reach me this time. This time he's going to be trying to flank on the right side, since this left door right here didn't really work out for her, okay? So right here, I noticed he's that way. So that to me tells me that she's going to be coming out this door, right? See how easy I'm able to get a shot off? Because I know she's coming from there. She has to travel this super large gap just to get to me. I was able to get an easy shot off. She already wasted a blink. Okay, probably 2 blinks if she was feeling confident, or maybe I missed her something. And the situation would pretty much just be a repeat of what happened previously in the other doorway. So we can kind of go ahead and show this again. I shot an early sleep door. I was trying to get her prematurely. Okay.
This will help. Hands off.
Do you kind of see what I'm saying here? Because of the fact I'm making her use so many of her abilities so early before the fight has even started, all it does is make the fight way easier for me, especially as a support player where I'm used to getting jumped on all the time. Okay. And this concept applies to all heroes that the enemy uses. It's probably most notable to say that this is more important against high mobility dive type heroes, just because of the fact that their mobility is pretty much a core aspect of their strength in the first place. If they don't have the mobility, then half their value is kind of just neutered, just completely shut down on the spot. All right, so again, we're going to be showing the other situation where he tries to go for the side flank instead, and watch what happens from his perspective. So this is where I noticed him. I heard the blinks, okay. He's waiting for his abilities, his blinks to come back. Now he goes for the blinks. I shot him once, so he tried to escape. That was my premature sleep. Now he goes for a double blink. You guys notice how before he even reached me that he had to waste all of his blinks, the rest of his blinks, just to reach me? And now he's in a pretty dire situation because he recalled right in front of my face, so he couldn't just hide behind cover easily. He kind of ended up committing to the fight. He doesn't really have any blinks now, so from my point of view, this is an easy kill. All right, I don't have to deal with the blinking shenanigans that a tracer normally does when fighting me as an Ana. Okay, now in this situation, we're gonna have my friend be playing Winston instead. Now Winston is approaching point. He's gonna try and contest point. Okay, he notices me, and then he's gonna try and dive me. And watch how I deal with them, and basically make his entire effort kind of useless, while also making him waste resources and also putting him out of position at the same time. Okay, so here he's on point, he's contesting. He notices me, goes for a jump. I sleep him mid jump. Okay, and now he's just chilling in a back line with nobody able to help him. Okay, and any sort of like competitive rank game, unless you're like super low and no one really notices, like maybe like bronze and silver and stuff, but at least in like gold and plat, that sleep way back in our backline will be an easy kill for the rest of our team to be able to clean him up. Okay, because he's isolated, he's alone, he's asleep, so he can't do anything. It should be an easy kill. Okay, but even then, even in the case that nothing happens to him, okay, he has to use his jump again just to get back to me. Okay, this entire time, keep in mind, this entire effort is wasting time for him. And Overwatch is an objective-based game. At the end of the day, the whole core part of how to win an Overwatch game is to take the objective. So the more time that you waste of the enemy is more time that you're wasting off their clock, which helps you win the objective more. All right, so he's wasting more abilities on me, and he decides to chase me down. Now, again, normally you would have teammates and stuff to help you in this type of situation, but I'm still able to win this duel just because, hey, he just uses jump, so he doesn't have the jump anymore right now to actually chase me effectively. So I'm getting free shots on him. Okay, there he is again, but by the time he had his jump, I had a sleep dart. Now, I did miss that sleep dart, but if I had hit it, I could keep kiting him backwards, and then he would also have to wait for his jump again. But no matter how you look at it, I'm making him waste his abilities before he can even do anything to me, which only makes the fight easier for me. Okay, because I still have all my abilities without having to do anything. I just have good positioning. That's it. Okay, I had the high ground. Again, now this time, let's go ahead and watch it from his perspective so you can see what it looks like from his perspective.
I'm on the objective.
He notices,
Rally to
goes
my
for the
position.
jump. I end up sleeping him. You see how vulnerable he is right here in the back line? Okay. Now he wastes his jump again to try and reach me. Places the bubble and tries to chase me. Okay. He can't do anything. I missed the sleep dart, but he's already really low. That entire exchange was heavily not in his favor. And it was all simply because of the fact I was making him waste his cooldowns just to get to me. And because he doesn't have his abilities during the actual fight, he's at a disadvantage already. Okay, he's already most likely going to lose. Well, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I would really appreciate it if you go ahead and leave the video a like, maybe even subscribe to the channel. I spent a lot of time making this video, so it would really mean a lot to me if you could show a little appreciation in return. I do try to make videos like this every once in a while on the channel. I am a variety streamer, so I do other things besides just Overwatch. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check me out on twitch.tv/isbrianirl. Would really mean a lot to me, even if it's just so much to say hi. I would appreciate it. But even if you're here just to watch my Overwatch tutorial videos, I would still recommend subscribing to the channel, just because of the fact that I do tend to post these every once in a while. You don't have to watch the rest of my videos, but at least when I happen to post an Overwatch video on my channel, you at least get a notification for when that happens. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope this helps you guys out. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace, y'all.